everybody, it's Aaron, and it's episode 30 of the Comic Book Cover. A lot of cool stuff coming out this week, Marvel and DC. A little bit light on the independents, but the independent stuff coming out is very cool. Featured comic, Superman 51. It's the beginning of the Super League story, Peter Tomasi, and who knows, this might be the last hurrah for the new 52 Superman. I'm kind of sad about that. I know some people are like, oh, I don't like the new 52 Superman, and I love the pre-new 52, so that's the thing that keeps me going, because I'm really anxious to see what's going to happen there. Dan Jurgens going to be on Action Comics, and going to be continuing his Lois and Clark Superman story, which I'm one issue behind on. I'm going to catch up tonight, so I'd have a little bit more to say on that. But cool thing is, this is going to span over Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Action Comics, and Tomasi's writing the whole line. We're going to have Supergirl on this, and she hasn't really been around since Convergence, so that's an extra cool piece to this. Jumping on to Marvel Comics, we got Amadeus Cho Genius at Work #1 one-shot. Obviously, if you've been reading Hulk, you know that Amadeus is the new Hulk. So, what is this going to play out? Is this going to be a part of Civil War? Who knows? You got to check it out to find out. Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2 hardcover is coming out. Amazing Spider-Man Worldwide Volume 1 trade paperback, which will be the new series. And of course, the little comic that people were really talking about on the Marvel side, Black Panther #1. It's a new era that starts here. We got MacArthur Genius and National Book Award winner. I can't even say that name. I'm not going to butcher this dude's name, but he's an award winner, so why not check it out, right? Let's see. Brian Stelfreeze is going to be on the art. A Nation Under Defeat is a story about dramatic upheaval in Wakanda and Black Panther's struggle to do right by his people as their ruler. The indomitable will of Wakanda, the famed African nation known for its vast wealth, advanced technology, and warrior traditions, has long been reflected in the will of its monarchs, the Black Panthers. But now the current Black Panther, T'Challa, finds that he will be tested by a superhuman terrorist group called the People that has sparked a violent uprising among the citizens of Wakanda. T'Challa knows the country must change to survive. The question is, will Black Panther survive the change? Sounds like a pretty interesting book. I've never actually bought any Black Panther, always known of the character. Figured I'd check this one out myself, because it's a #1, why not? And over the years, I've managed to appreciate Black Panther a lot more. He has pretty cool powers, love the background. There's a lot of cool stuff going on with that comic, and the way that comic came about. Jack Kirby, man, Jack Kirby. Also Black Panther, they're putting out Volume 3 of the trade paperback of the complete collection of Christopher Priest's run at Black Panther. Black Widow #2, and one of the biggest stories Marvel's done in the last 20, maybe even 20 plus, is Civil War is coming out in hardcover. Of course, Civil War 2 is coming up, so I'd say that has a lot to do with it. And speaking of Civil War, since the color your own things have really become a big thing, you get your color your own Civil War trade paperback. Contest of Champions #7, and this one's really cool. Daredevil by Frank Miller Omnibus Companion hardcover. Can't go wrong with that. I'm sure it probably has the Daredevil Electra stuff in it too, which is really cool. Deadpool #9, everybody loves Deadpool. #1 selling R-rated comic book movie, Deadpool vs. Sabretooth, parts 2 and 3. Plus there's a cool Deadpool coming up that's going to have Daredevil and Power Man and Iron Fist in it, so I'm kind of looking forward to that too. But Daredevil #9, Sabretooth versus Deadpool #9, Sabretooth versus Deadpool. Gotta check that out. After that, we have Empress #1 of 7. This is Mark Millar's new book, and he's doing it with Stuart Immonen. Big Mark Millar fan. Miller, whatever you prefer. I prefer Millar. I say it's Millar. This one's going to be a pretty cool story. Stuart Immonen's a really great artist. Can't wait to see what the two of them do together. This is from Marvel's Imprint Icon. There's a couple of things coming out with Icon. They've been kind of dead for a little while, so now they're coming back with Millar doing Empress, which he hasn't done anything with Marvel and Icon since Kick-Ass Volume 2. We got Infinity Entity #4, which is confusing to me because I think I might have missed 3. I don't know what happened there. I've got 1 and 2, I know that. Maybe it's a misprint, we'll find out. Invincible Iron Man #8, The War Machines Part 3. You got Spider-Man, you got War Machine, you got Iron Man all teaming up to stop a brand new threat in the Marvel Universe, like only they can. Plus there's hints to Civil War 2 in this. If you haven't read any of the stuff building up, maybe you should turn this off now, but I'm going to give this part away. It seems to be that Civil War II is going to be basically Tony Stark versus the Inhumans, where the Inhumans released the Terrigen Mist and it's affected the mutants. They can't, they can't have kids or anything. They're sterile now. And a lot of them are dying off because of the Terrigen Mist. I'm sure it's going to play into this because I know the X-Men is going to be a big part of the new Civil War II, which they were a big part of the original. Really looking forward to Civil War II. I'm probably not going to get all the times, but I'm definitely going to get the main story. Speaking of Iron Man, the reboot, Volume 1, that started off right after Secret Wars, is coming out in hardcover. Marvel News Stories, Road to Civil War II Preview, number 1. Marvel Universe, Avengers Assemble, Civil War, number 2. Marvel Universe by John Byrne Omnibus, hardcover. Now that is especially cool. Miss Marvel Volume 2 hardcover. New Avengers number 9. It's another one of my favorite books. Old Man Logan number 4. Logan versus old Steve Rogers. Need I say more? Jeff Lemire and Andre Sorrentino has been knocking it out with Old Man Logan. Can't wait to see when Logan and Steve Rogers meet up. Scarlet Witch number 5. Spider-Man number 3. Everybody's into Miles Morales. Here you go, number 3. Spider-Man 2099 number 9. Peter David did a great job in this comic. I unfortunately had to drop off, but it was pretty interesting. Spider-Woman Alpha number 1, taking all the Spider characters, Spider-Woman, and then Silk and so forth. They're all going to have their own comic together. Another really cool new one coming out, Star Wars Poe Dameron number 1. All new series spinning out of The Force Awakens. Giving us background on Poe Dameron, so that I'm really curious about this one. You got Charles Soule writing, Phil Noto, who did art during the Chewbacca, is going to be doing the art on this. We got Uncanny Avengers number 8. It's a standoff time. The Uncanny Avengers have lost their minds to escape a trap. One Avenger is willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. The Wreck returns, and so does... Is it the Red Skull? You know, if you've been reading, the Red Skull's been showing up a little bit here and there. He's got Xavier's mind, so he's kind of blocked it. Nobody can even see that he's there because he's using all of Xavier's powers. I noticed I've seen some solicits where it looks like Rogue sees Xavier, but is she really seeing Xavier? Is she seeing what Red Skull wants her to see? It's been a really interesting ride. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. Plus, Cable's in this book. Uncanny X-Men number 6, Greg Land, Colin Bunn, great book. It's not, unfortunately, I'm not checking it out because I just can't read that many, but it's one of those ones that I've actually had to force myself not to buy. Vision number 6, and X-Men Age of Apocalypse Omnibus hardcover. There you go for Marvel. Moving on to independents, we have Boom Studios putting out Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 2. This book is hot. It hardly stays on the shelf. Everybody's in for the Power Rangers book, and why not? It's been an interesting ride. You have some great writing with Kyle Higgins. I really dig his writing. I'm sure he's doing a great job. Plus, they're taking the story from the show and kind of retelling it in comic book form. Scorpiona goes for Tommy where it hurts the most. Rita won't give up on her Green Ranger that easily. With Tommy's life hanging in the balance, the Rangers must get together to save her friend or risk losing him forever. There you go, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 2. This is a cool one, especially if you're into older comics. Dynamite Entertainment is putting out the Gold Key Alliance number 1 of 5. It's going to have Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, Magnus, Robot Fighter, Solar, Man of the Atom, and the Mighty Samson. So they're taking all those old Gold Key characters and bringing them back, which, you know, is cool. When some of those companies go defunct, other people come in and pick it up. And I like the fact that Dynamite's really kind of helped keep the Gold Key thing alive. They put out great stuff like Star Trek back in the day, and Man from U.N.C.L.E., there's a few others that I'm drawing a blank for some reason now. Dark Shadows, I think, was even a comic with Gold Key. Graphic India, Grant Morrison's 18 Days number 10. IDW Publishing, G.I. Joe, Real American Hero 227. Cobra Commander's plan would be going perfectly if he hadn't messed with the wrong people, his own members of Cobra. Destro, Zartan, the Baroness, Tomax, and Zaymot want something from Cobra Commander, and if he wants his Cobra Nation to succeed, he'll have to do just as they say. If you're as big of a G.I. Joe fan as me, you can't be too surprised by that one. Destro, he's not one to take anything off Cobra Commander. IDW Publishing is also putting out Star Trek 56 and X-Files Season 11, number 8. Moving on to Image Comics. We have Dark Corridor number 7, Darkness Hope number 1 one-shot, Discipline number 2, The Fix number 1, Grizzly Shark number 1, Nailbiter volume 4, Bloodlust. Nailbiter, another big comic, Joshua Williamson, going to be doing The Flash. Saints number 7, Prophet War number 3 of 6, Think Tank Creative Destruction number 1. That's an interesting title. I'd almost buy it on that title. Walking Dead number 153, Heavy Hangs the Head. From what I know, Negan has teamed up with Rick. So, and those of you watching the series are getting ready to see Negan played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and that is a great pick for Negan. And I've also heard that they're not going to really change his colorful language. They're just going to bleep it out, and when you get the DVD, you get it full on. So I think that's a good idea, too, because that was my main worry with bringing Negan to the show, is that you really can't take away all the... He's almost like Andrew Dice Clay, but he has a poetry about cursing. But, you know, that's the big thing. What's going down with Rick and Negan now? I mean, I haven't read in a few issues, and I'm really kind of wanting to jump back in just to find out what's going on there. Wicked and Devon, number 18. So there you go. That's an Independence. It's DC Tom. And while we're on DC, Vertigo is putting out something really cool. Absolute Transmetropolitan Volume 2 hardcover. This is the Warren Ellis story. It is like his Invisibles kind of made his mark before Red and all that stuff. And that's one that I haven't read, and I'm anxious to go back and read because Warren Ellis is great. Batgirl number 50. Batman Beyond number 11. Black Lightning trade paperback. Black Lightning. Bloodlines number 1. J.T. Kroll's writing this, and I was like, yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to read this, but when I realized J.T. Kroll was writing, it makes me pretty tempted to read it. I didn't actually read the 90s story Bloodlines. If I did, I don't really remember it, which doesn't say much about it. And I'm not sure why it's such a big deal coming back for that very reason, but don't take my word for it because I just admitted to not reading it. So I'm curious about what's going on now because, like I said, J.T. Kroll is doing the writing, and it seems like it's going to be a big thing. Kroll did a great job on Green Arrow before the New 52, and after the, in the New 52, his Captain Atom is the best Captain Atom out there. DC Comics Essentials, Batman Death of the Family number 1. This is the cool ones where you get to buy for $1 and they're more famous stories. This one's worth checking out if you have not read Death of the Family. Detective Comics number 51. Gotham by Midnight Volume 2. Green Arrow number 51. In a war-torn Africa, Green Arrow and Deathstroke are both hunting for the same man, Dr. Miracle, whose blood cures any disease. They're battling not only each other, but also a militant group known as the Whites. There's no deadlier foe than the world's greatest assassin, and his blade, Green Arrow, may not have met his end. Well, here's the thing. Deathstroke wasn't originally a Green Arrow villain. He was a Teen Titans one, mainly Dick Grayson, kind of Batman because of that. But since the Arrow TV shows have kind of become a Green Arrow villain, which is kind of cool. Green Arrow doesn't need to borrow all of Batman stuff because he's his own character, but I think Deathstroke's a really cool addition. Plus, this run by Percy has been very much like the Denny O'Neil thing, so I'm going to assume that he's a big Denny O'Neil fan. Really love this comic. And then we have Green Lantern number 51. Who and what are the Grey Agents? They're deadly and determined. They've captured Trapper Virgo and Darlene, the ship, in order to track down Howl. And that's just the start of their campaign to set themselves up as the new law in the universe. Pity anyone who gets in their way. The first of a 2-part story that will usher in a new era for Hal Jordan. I'm reading this just because I'd like to see Hal get back to being Hal again. Hopefully it works. Green Lantern Corps of the Lost Army trade paperback, which is the lead-in for Edge of Oblivion, and I read half of it. I kind of like to get this trade just because I didn't get to read the last half, and it was really good. Colin Bunn did a great job on that. Harley Quinn and the Suicide Squad April Fool's Special number 1. Injustice Gods Among Us Year 5 number 7. This is the last year before the game picked up. So if you haven't read any Injustice, I would highly recommend it. Tom Taylor started it off. Even speculation that the Justice League movie might borrow some from Injustice and bring in Darkseid. We'll see what happens. If you've seen any of the cutscenes, hopefully you got to see Steppenwolf and the Mother Box thing. It was really cool. Justice League Darkseid War Special number 1. This is going to dive deep into Grail, kind of give us more into her part in this and how it's going to play into the Rebirth thing, which is another cool thing. This story is one of those big stories like the Superman stuff that's going to play a big part in Rebirth. I definitely recommend checking this out. The Darkseid War has been a great story. Looney Tunes number 230, man. One of the greatest cartoons as a kid. Love that cartoon. Great book for the kids. Midnighter number 11. New Suicide Squad number 19. Tim Seeley. Sheriff of Babylon number 5 of 12. Vertigo book. Suicide Squad Volume 3. Rogues trade paperback. Superman Emperor Joker trade paperback. This is one I'd like to go back and check out. Superman Coming of Supermen number 3 of 6. We're halfway through Neil Adams' Superman story. Superman tries to find answers as to why Darkseid's son Kalibak has kidnapped a young Middle Eastern boy and his dog. 3 other Kryptonians have come to watch over Earth. Meanwhile, the planet Nibiru, which became new Krypton for the liberated Kandorians, is preparing to host Darkseid as he attempts to subjugate their world to make it his new apocalypse. And Neil Adams definitely is a good guy to do this kind of story because he's been around for a while and he can pull from all that stuff. And it's a big tribute to Jack Kirby. If I haven't said that before, and I know I have, I'm saying it again. Jack Kirby. Superman Volume 1 For Truth hardcover. This and the Savage Dawn parts were my favorite parts of the Truth story. It was really good. It had its flaws, mainly in some of the art and inking not being totally consistent, but overall still a really good Superman story. Kind of why I'm disappointed that they might lose the New 52 Superman. They put that guy through hell. Now it's just like, let's go back to the old one, which I love the old one, but I don't know. That's just me. Survivors Club number 7, another Vertigo. Swamp Thing number 4 of 6. Len Wein coming back to his original character. And it's been a really cool story. Another Vertigo Sweet Tooth Deluxe Edition Volume 2. This is the story that really got me into Jeff Lemire. Also from Vertigo, Unfollow number 6. So there you go. That is the DC run. And this is the part where you hear we got comics from the vault.
And now, it's time for...
And here we are, comics from the vault. We have Adventure Comics number 431, and that is the Spectre. We always talk about main characters, but there's a whole lot of B characters with both companies, because you won't hear any Marvel or DC bashing here. It's just not going to happen. I like both companies equally. Superman and Batman are my favorites, and that's the reason I'll sometimes tout DC a little bit more, but they're also the original company. And the Trinity that really started all characters came after were Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. It's a fact. I don't care if you're a Marvel guy or DC guy, or if you don't like Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman. It's just how it was. That's when go look at history. 1938, folks. That's when Action number 1 came out. That was a big deal. It's still a big deal. And that's why, to me, Batman vs. Superman was awesome, because you had the Trinity for the first time. This is super cool because I'm a big fan of the Spectre. Hopefully we'll see him appear in the DC movie universe. A lot of people don't know that Schuster was actually one of the creators of the Spectre. So the co-creator of Superman was also a part of creating the Spectre. The Spectre is a really cool character. Jim Corrigan was a police detective and was killed, and he ended up becoming God's Hand of Vengeance, which is the Spectre. He's a little bit more superheroish in the old days, and then later on, it really added a lot to him. Kingdom Come has some really cool parts of the Spectre. That is one of the best stories out there. If you haven't read it, Alex Ross and Mark Waid, excellent DC stuff. And this one's, pretty decent. It's got its flaws, but still a good reader, and it's fairly priced. And it's kind of cool to have some. I've always talked about how I wanted to have more Silver Age DC, so that's one of the reasons I've focused a little bit more on some of the Silver Age stuff I found. And I've got a few more, and I've still got more Marvel too, because once again, much as I might say I can lean towards DC because of my 2 favorite characters, I'm not really biased here. I think I talked about more Marvel in this video than I did DC, because I can't help it. Whoever puts out the best stuff puts out the best stuff. It's just how it is. But yeah, we're just, making a point to come check out stuff like this. Don't always read the main characters. Check out some of the B guys, because you'd be surprised how many you like. Like, I'm on the Marvel side, I'm a big Iron Fist fan, and Power Man, and you could even say Daredevil, because he's not really an A-list character. He's more of a B character, and some of those are more like C characters. So check out the whole universe and kind of build on that. I mean, the Humans is becoming a big deal at Marvel now, and Black Panther and all those kind of characters, kind of moving them up, and that's one of the super cool things about it. Once again, if you get 5 or more titles here, you get 25% off, 10% off at our sister store, The Money Tree. Now is a great time to read comics. You don't have to stop where you're at. You can come over here too. We encourage you to get comics everywhere. We're just saying get them here because we're trying to offer you a cool deal. And thank you to all those that have supported us because, as you can see, we've got a new place for our comic books now. We're trying to move things up. The better things do, the more we can do for you. This is Aaron signing out saying, read more comics and enjoy it, fanboy, because for some reason, some fanboys don't want to enjoy things. So try to change that. Enjoy it. Enjoy it all. If you don't like it, don't read it. Don't watch it. Don't talk about it, not liking it. Talk about the things you do like, and that's the fun part of it. Catch you fanboys later.